Right, strap yourselves in, because today we are going deep on something kind of controversial that's brewing in South Korea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their national pension system, and I know, on the surface, a pension system doesn't exactly make you think thriller.
No.
But you got to trust me on this one.
Okay.
This one's got drama, intrigue,
Yeah, all right. Absolutely.
and a whole generation, like literally a whole generation,
Wow.
that are totally on edge about their future.
Interesting. So we're looking at almost a mystery, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like, you have this system, and it's designed,
Yeah.
to provide like a safety net.
Wow.
And yet you have all these young people, the MZ generation.
Right. MZ generation, yeah.
The ones in their 20s and 30s, they're calling for it to be completely dismantled.
I know, like, what is going on?
Yeah, what is the deal?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So to try to figure this out, we are turning to an article, and it's called Issue Analysis: Why MZ Generation is Calling for the Abolition of the National Pension System.
Okay.
And the cool thing about this article is it was written by a journalist who's actually part of this generation.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
So we're getting it, like
Yeah.
straight from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Yeah, that insider perspective is really crucial, I think.
Yeah.
It helps us understand, not just like the facts and figures, but also those
Yeah.
anxieties that are driving this whole debate.
Totally. And the article starts out with a really chilling statistic. Nearly 70% of MZ generation Koreans think they'll never actually get a full pension. So
That's not just skepticism.
it's not just skepticism.
That's a crisis.
It's full-blown crisis of confidence, right?
Yeah.
So where does this distrust come from?
Right. So the article does a good job of explaining how the system works.
Okay.
And that's kind of where the cracks begin to show. It relies heavily on two things: contributions from people working right now.
Okay.
And this is key: returns on investments.
Gotcha.
Now, there's also this tiny little bit coming from government subsidies,
Yeah.
but we're talking almost nothing.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of like a three-legged stool,
Yeah.
but one leg is like a toothpick.
Yeah, like a twig.
Yeah. Not super stable.
Not the most stable situation.
Not really. But even with two strong legs,
Yeah.
you still need those investments to perform well.
You need them to perform. Yeah, absolutely. And that is where it gets really shaky.
Okay.
It's not just, theoretical risks we're talking about here.
Right.
The article points out that in 2022 alone, the National Pension Fund lost a massive 80 trillion KRW.
80 trillion.
80 trillion.
Oh, my God.
Which is about 62 billion US dollars.
Yeah, that's not just a red flag. That's like a whole parade of red flags.
That's it, yeah.
With like sirens.
With the sirens blaring.
Blaring. Yeah. So can you imagine working so hard, contributing all your money,
Yeah.
and then finding out that the pot it's going into is actually shrinking?
Yeah, it's getting smaller.
Yeah, I would be questioning things too.
Yeah, totally.
So, and remember, we're not just talking about one bad year here.
No.
This is all happening against a backdrop of, global economic whatever.
Volatility.
Volatility. Yeah, and even more importantly,
Yeah.
a demographic time bomb.
Right? The article talked about this, like
Yeah.
population cliff
Population cliff.
that's on the horizon.
Looming.
Looming. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It's pretty scary.
Yep.
Imagine fewer and fewer young people entering the workforce.
Okay.
So there's less contributions.
Right.
And at the same time,
Yeah.
a huge wave of older people are hitting retirement.
Yeah.
And they need to start drawing those benefits.
Oh, gosh.
It's like trying to fill up a swimming pool. Oh, like this.
With a leaky faucet while the drain is wide open.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So how bad are things projected to get?
Hold on tight, because the article, it cites some pretty stark numbers from the National Pension Service themselves.
Right.
By 2055,
Okay.
the number of people who need to receive pensions, it's expected to more than double.
Oh, wow.
While at the same time, the working age population could plummet by millions.
Millions.
Potentially millions, yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's not even a cliff. It's more like an abyss.
Like a Grand Canyon situation.
Yeah, it's a Grand Canyon.
So we have this system, right?
Yeah.
Built on these risky investments.
Yeah.
A shrinking pool of people contributing.
Right.
And this growing mass of people who need to receive these benefits.
Yeah.
So it's like, no wonder the MZ generation
Right.
is feeling a little anxious.
A little anxious, yeah.
And this isn't just theoretical. This is like hitting them right where it hurts.
What's on the wallet?
Yeah, right in their wallets.
Yeah.
And the article actually illustrates that really well. The author, who, is part of this generation,
Right.
shares what their projected pension payout would be.
Yeah.
If they start receiving benefits at 65.
Okay. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, okay.
A measly 910,000 KRW.
910,000 KRW. Wait, seriously?
That's about $700 a month.
Wow, that's barely enough to cover rent most places.
Yeah.
Let alone, all the other expenses that come with living.
The cost of living, yeah.
It's a pretty grim picture.
Yeah, it's not great.
And it raises a big question.
Yeah.
Not just for young South Koreans.
Right.
But for all of us listening. Right?
Yeah, for you listening too.
In a world with so many, economic uncertainties.
Yeah.
Is relying solely on a government pension, especially one that's facing these headwinds.
Right.
Really enough?
Is it enough to guarantee a secure future?
Yeah, that is like the million-dollar question.
It is, yeah.
And it seems like the MZ generation in South Korea is saying,
yeah,
nope, not going to take that gamble.
So that's where things start to get really interesting.
Okay.
Because they're not just complaining.
Right.
They're actually taking action.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah, but before we get into that,
Yeah.
I think it's worth understanding some of the potential solutions
Okay.
that are being discussed, like in South Korea itself.
Gotcha.
Because, even though this generation is taking things into their own hands,
Yeah.
there's still a lot riding on whether the government can fix this system.
Right, yeah, for sure. So let's get into that then. All right, so we've established there's a problem.
Big problem.
Yeah, South Korea's national pension system is on the edge of a cliff.
Right.
And the MZ generation is understandably freaking out.
Yeah, I'd be freaking out too.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing is, they're not just sitting around waiting for someone else to fix it.
Right.
This article really paints this picture of a generation that's taking charge.
Yeah, they're rolling up their sleeves.
Yeah, and saying, fine, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
Okay, I'm really intrigued by this. So what exactly does this DIY approach look like?
Wow.
Are we talking side hustles and ramen noodle for every meal?
Haha. I mean, that might be part of it for some.
Yeah.
But the bigger picture here is about financial literacy and taking control, right?
Yeah.
The article highlights how, young South Koreans are becoming super savvy about investing.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for different options, right?
Okay.
Beyond the traditional pension system.
So they're diversifying.
They are diversifying.
Okay, what kind of investments are we talking about here?
Everything.
Okay.
Real estate, stocks, cryptocurrency, even starting their own businesses.
Wow, so they really are, spreading their bets.
They're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Right, and that's a smart move.
It's a smart move, yeah, in any economy.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like they're building their own safety net, one investment at a time.
Yeah, they're taking control.
And this isn't just about individual gain either.
No.
It's like a whole social movement.
It really is. The article talks about all these online communities and forums where young people are sharing tips, sharing investment strategies.
Oh, that's cool.
Even organizing workshops to teach other people.
That's awesome.
There's this real sense of collective action. It's like they're saying, we're in this together.
I love that.
And we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. It's like they're creating their own financial ecosystem, bypassing all these traditional institutions that they feel aren't really serving them.
Yeah, the ones that have let them down.
It's resourceful.
Yeah.
It's proactive. And honestly, it's a little bit of a wake-up call for the rest of us.
It is a wake-up call. Yeah, I think this is a key takeaway, actually.
Okay. No matter where you live, how old you are, the MZ generation's story is a reminder.
Yeah.
You can't just passively rely on these systems.
Right.
To take care of you.
Yeah.
You have to be informed.
Yeah.
You have to be engaged.
Yeah.
And you have to be ready to adapt.
Yeah, adapt. I like that.
Yeah.
And this goes beyond just retirement planning, too.
It does, yeah.
It's about having control of your own financial well-being.
Yeah, your financial future, exactly.
Whether you're saving for a house.
Yeah, anything.
Starting a business.
Whatever it is.
Or just, trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, trying to survive.
In this, increasingly uncertain world.
The world is uncertain, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting wild out there.
It is.
So, speaking of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about those potential solutions
right.
that are being debated in South Korea.
Yeah, the ones we talked about earlier.
Because even though the MZ generation is taking things into their own hands,
right.
doing their own thing.
There's still a lot riding on whether the government can actually fix this system.
Yeah, the government's got to step up.
Okay, so let's dive into that.
All right.
The article mentions pension reform.
Right.
But it's a little vague. Like,
yeah.
What are some actual concrete proposals on the table?
Well, one of the most talked about ideas is raising the retirement age.
Okay.
It kind of makes sense. Like, people are living longer.
Yeah.
They're healthier.
Healthier, yeah.
So why not work a little longer and ease that burden on the system?
Yeah. I mean, it's logical.
It's logical, yeah.
But I can already hear the pushback.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be super unpopular.
Not everyone's going to be happy.
Especially with older generations.
No, they're not going to like that.
I mean, no one wants to work longer than they have to.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's tricky.
It's a tough balancing act.
Yeah, for sure. So what other ideas are out there?
Another option is increasing how much people contribute. So, like, paying more into the system each month.
So bigger chunks of their paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. That could definitely help.
Okay.
Like, boost the fund in the short term.
Right.
But it also puts more pressure on young people who are already struggling.
Yeah, exactly. And that seems like it would just create more resentment.
Yeah, especially
if they don't think they'll ever see that money again.
Right, if they don't trust the system.
Yeah, it's catch-22, right.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
They need to contribute to save it.
Right.
But they don't trust it enough to contribute.
Yeah, they're stuck.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole question of how these pension funds are actually invested.
Right, that's a big one.
The article kind of hints that there needs to be more transparency and accountability.
Right, because like we saw with that 80 trillion KRW loss.
Exactly, yeah.
Bad investments like have huge consequences.
It's consequences, yeah.
So are there any ideas on how to actually improve the investment strategy?
Well, one idea that's gaining traction is shifting the investments towards more like sustainable and socially responsible industries.
So like green stuff.
Yeah, like renewable energy, green technology, stuff like that.
Right, okay.
This could appeal to like the MZ generation's values.
Right, they're all about that.
They care about climate change.
Yeah.
And it might, maybe it'll generate better returns.
Right, yeah.
In the long run.
That's an interesting approach. It's like trying to match the investments with their values.
Align them, yeah.
But doesn't that also come with risks?
Of course, there are always risks with investments.
Right.
The key is diversification. And a long-term perspective.
Yeah.
But the point here is the conversation about pension reform is happening on multiple levels.
Okay.
It's not just about changing some numbers.
Yeah.
It's about rethinking the whole system.
Wow.
And how it can adapt to the changing needs of society.
And this is where it gets really fascinating, right?
It is.
Because it's not just about South Korea anymore.
No, it's a global thing.
Yeah, what's happening there is like a microcosm of a much bigger trend.
Exactly. Countries all over the world are facing these same challenges.
Like quit.
Aging populations, declining birth rates, growing economic insecurity, especially among young people.
Yeah.
South Korea might be at the forefront.
Right.
But this story is going to play out everywhere.
So what can we learn from South Korea then?
Yeah, what are the
takeaways for the rest of us?
That's a great question, and it's one that we're going to explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, good.
Because the lessons here go way beyond just, retirement planning they touch on, like with the nature of social contracts, intergenerational responsibility, and what it means to build a sustainable future in a world that's always changing.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've been to South Korea.
Right.
We've seen this pension system teetering on the edge, and we met this whole generation, right?
Yeah.
It's like taking their financial futures into their own hands.
Yeah, pretty inspiring stuff.
It is, yeah.
But what does it all actually mean for us?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Is South Korea, like, the canary in the coal mine?
Right.
Or is this just some, Korean drama,
I mean, I'm guessing with all this talk about aging populations and the economy, globally, there are some universal themes here.
You're absolutely right. Think about it this way.
Okay.
Those demographic shifts we've been talking about.
Yeah, the ones that are pushing this pension system.
Yeah, pushing it to the edge. Yeah. They're happening all over the world.
Okay.
More people are living longer, fewer babies, right?
Yeah.
That's going to put a strain on any kind of social safety net.
Not just pensions.
No, not just pensions, any of them.
Wow, so it's like Every country is facing some version of this population cliff.
They are, yeah, just maybe...
There's different paces.
There's different speeds, yeah. So what does that mean for someone, say, listening in a country where the system seems pretty stable right now?
I think complacency is the biggest danger.
Okay.
This story, the MZ generation, it's a reminder.
Yeah.
We can't just assume these systems will be there when we need them.
Right.
We got to stay informed.
Informed, yeah.
Be part of these conversations, right? About how these systems are run, funded, and managed.
Right.
And be ready to adapt.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, exactly.
But like applied to our whole financial future.
To your whole life, basically. The MZ generation, they're diversifying, right?
They're not just relying on one pension. They're investing, doing side hustles, building skills.
Yeah.
That'll be useful no matter what happens.
It's like they're future-proofing themselves.
They are, yeah.
Okay, but this isn't just about personal responsibility, though, is it?
No, it's not.
There's got to be, like, a systemic element here, too, right?
Absolutely, because...
Because if everyone has to fend for themselves,
right,
that puts a ton of pressure on people.
Yeah.
Who might not have the resources...
or the knowledge...
to, like, even navigate all of that.
Exactly, and that's where the conversation gets really interesting.
Yeah.
South Korea forces us to ask, what's the government's role in all of this?
Right. Yeah.
Is it just up to individuals, or does society have a responsibility to provide some security, especially for people who are struggling?
Man, those are some, like, big questions.
They're big questions.
I don't think we can answer all of them.
No, not in one deep dive.
No.
But what we can do is encourage everyone listening to grapple with them.
To, like, sit with it.
Yeah, to think about it, you know? Look at the systems in your own countries.
Okay.
Not just pensions, but healthcare, education, all of it.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Are these systems designed for the world we're living in now?
Right, yeah.
Or are they, like, leftovers from a different time?
Yeah.
Are they adaptable? Are they sustainable?
Yeah.
These are the conversations we need to be having.
So it's less about having the answers and more about asking the right questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
You know, the MZ generation in South Korea, by even asking these questions, they've sparked a debate.
Right.
And it's one we all need to be a part of.
It's a global conversation.
It is, yeah.
And honestly, sometimes just raising awareness and getting people to think critically
to think about it
is a huge step.
It is, yeah.
Because if we don't talk about this stuff now, the consequences could be huge.
Yeah, they could be.
And you know what I love about all this?
What's that?
We don't have to wait.
No.
For governments or institutions to lead the way.
The MZ generation is showing us we have the power to shape our own futures.
I love that. So what's like the one thing you hope people listening take away from this?
Don't be passive.
Okay, don't be passive.
No matter what it is, whether it's your finances or like the systems that affect you, stay informed. Be curious. Be proactive.
Okay.
Don't wait for a crisis to hit before you start thinking about solutions.
Like a call to action.
It is.
Don't just watch your life happen. Get involved.
Yeah, get involved, ask questions, and make a difference.
That is inspiring. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into South Korea's national pension system.
It's been a journey.
It has. We've covered a lot.
We have.
But more importantly, I think we sparked a conversation.
I hope so.
It'll hopefully keep going.
Keep it going, yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks for listening.
We hope you found this informative.
And thought-provoking.
And maybe even a little bit empowering.
Yeah, a little bit.
Remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
The more you know, the better.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy deep diving.